The first insider tip to choosing a webinar provider is to become a webinar student. I probably get asked more questions about choosing the right webinar provider, the right software, than any other questions about webinars. To help you with this, I've already produced the Webinar Platforms Guide, which I think is the logical starting point for evaluating which webinar software will be right for you. To grab a copy of that free guide, just click the link below. But beyond that, once you've chosen your webinar platform, then it's time to choose your software. It's time to choose the webinar provider. And today's video is the first in a series to help you to choose that specific webinar provider that's right for you. And today's video is all about becoming a webinar student. So let's get started. I have a confession. I'm a golf tragic. If you're not sure what that means, it's pretty simple. I love golf, but I'm no good at it. A distinct lack of talent has held me back from a professional career in golf all these years. But just like a golf tragic, I study the game. I love the game. And I study the players. I watch my favourite players and the way they approach the game, and I study the equipment. I keep an eye on the trends with golf, the types of equipment that the players are using, and so that I can understand that if I was to really pursue this passion of golf, that I would then have a yardstick to prepare myself against, that I'd know what the equipment is about, and I'd know which equipment would be right for me based upon watching my favourite players play. Now, it's exactly the same with respect to webinar presenting. If you want to be a great webinar presenter, you need to study the game. And there's two ways you can do that. There's two ways you can become a fantastic webinar student. The first is pretty simple. Watch webinars. I've watched lots of webinars over the years, and it's been able to help me hone my skills in terms of seeing what I like and what I don't like about webinars. And it's given me great insight into the types of techniques and tactics and strategies and presentation skills that strike a chord with me and hopefully with the people I present webinars to. So first piece of advice, first action step from today's video is find your favourite webinar presenters. Now there's lots of them that you'll have the opportunity to listen to on the Webinar Skills podcast. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, listen to the Webinar Skills podcast, because in that podcast we get to listen to many of the world's best webinar presenters. You can find your favourites from there, or you can go Googling or go asking your friends and other webinar presenters, who do you like? Who do you find are great webinar presenters? And then just watch and study, maybe write some notes. Work out what you like and don't like about their delivery techniques. And the second part, in addition to that, is to study the software. Watch different software systems in action. And it's pretty inevitable that you'll do that as you watch different presenters, because they'll all use different systems. But study the software system, study the functionality that is presented in the webinars, and then dive in behind the back door. Get behind the curtain and have a look at the specifications and the marketing materials for those webinar software systems so that you can understand what they can and can't do, and that will help you to work out what the right system is for you. So today's insider tip on choosing the right webinar provider: become a webinar student. If you do that, you're well on the road to success and to choosing the best webinar provider for you. I want more! If you're a regular of these videos, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. But today I want to tell you about something that's not video content. Do you sometimes wish when you're in the car or on the gym or in the shower that you wish you had something to listen to so you could learn about webinars more effectively? If you're a webinar fanatic like I am and you want to get the chance to take advantage of those opportunities to do more learning, then there's a podcast for you, the Webinar Skills Podcast, hosted by yours truly. And I'm very excited about the Webinar Skills podcast. It's only just been recently released and it's going great. So if you want the chance to listen to top class webinar presenters like John Lee Dumas, like Rick Mulready, like Joe Daniel, like George Cow and Kate Erickson, then tune into the Webinar Skills podcast. You'll find it on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Search for it, Webinar Skills Podcast, or click the link below to go to the Webinar Skills Podcast. Please have a listen to one of the episodes. I hope you love it. Thanks for watching today's video, I really appreciate it. If this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, please subscribe to the channel. Not only will that help you keep in touch with my future videos to help you become a better webinar presenter, but it also helps other webinar presenters find this channel as well. Please subscribe and have an awesome day. Let's talk about webinar engagement and why Jerry Seinfeld gets it.